Hey guys, can you hear me? It says end broadcast, stop streaming. So I think I'm streaming now. Hello. Hello everyone. Well, what a day I'm having. What a day. Let me see what's being said here on the discussion chat thing. Okay, I have to set my alarm clock because I don't get notified from you or Ty. Most of the time it's halfway or you guys finish online. So that's Sue Adams. Sue, are you on now? Okay, hello, Deborah says user RV. I will be there on 1 a.m. here. Wow, that's quite the time difference. Hi, everyone. Hey, guys, how's it going with everyone? I am having quite the day today. I went to go do some errands and I ended up at my last location and I put my car key in the lock in the door because my automatic door opener battery has been low and I've needed to sort of get that changed out and fix it, and I've ignored it, which I shouldn't have. And my key got stuck in the lock. Luckily, I was really close to home. So what I did was I just got my daughter to run me up the spare. And so I drove it home with the key in the lock. And then I called CAA and they said there's nothing we could do. So I'll take the door apart tomorrow and all. The spring in the tumbler is probably off. So I'll check, see if it just needs to be replaced when it's light out. And I'll replace it tomorrow. No biggie, but that's why I'm kind of running late. I didn't even get a chance to make supper. I mean, I just have a tea in front of me right now. So it happens. It happens. Makes life exciting, you know? So luckily, I was really close to home. I was probably just, for my daughter, probably just a 10-minute walk from the house. It was the last location. So I'm lucky it didn't happen in any of the other ones because they were a lot further. Yeah. So I don't know if I'm going to mention this tonight or not, but I'm a little bit uncertain about it. I'm not 100% sure, but I did a quick burst session on Chenkun because I saw a short where someone had seen a plastination exhibit with looks so much like him. And so I wanted to do like a really quick burst session. So I got home, I made myself a cup of tea, and I kind of just consulted the spirit box for 1 minute, just like I did on live with Bai. I don't know how to pronounce her name, when I was checking up on Hugh. And so the results are that, so there's definitely something going on with him. At first I thought it said he's dead, but then I listened again and it didn't sound like that 100%, so I can't say 100%. But then I thought it said plastinated as well. So I'll just tell you what I thought it said and you guys can just so as soon as I started, even before I press the, when I get those EVPs that come in before I start the spirit box, when I'm just recording my question, it said, he's dead, gotta play though. So it said he's dead and gotta play at the same time, that's what's making it confusing for me. And then it said plastinated twice, and it said, I don't like it. And then it says has to play. So that's really confusing for me, but the rest of it sort of came in pretty clearly. It said, worked too long. I did nothing good. Already owe teeth. Took I'm told to be here. Should cheer up. He knows stuff. I'm tired of this. I saw it all in that night. Made me do it. They had the game. Someone had to die. Died by inhale. Not enough. And it said Ty was friend to me. So it sounds like a name. It sounds like Ty, but I'm not 100% sure. Was friend to me. They made him play me. Tufan played me. Just kill him. It said, wake up, wake up, wake up. Like, I think that he might have killed somebody and he just like freaked out about it and saying, wake up, wake up, wake up. He was nice. We saw his death. This blank, I can't say the word, like, it sounds like um, a curse word, conned everyone. Hurry, it said. I'm not their pal. So it's kind of really, just for 1 minute, it's too confusing. So I might have to do a longer session to find out exactly what happened to him, whether he's alive and afraid of dying, and that's why death is being mentioned, whether he's played a game and survived it, and talking about the trauma of having to kill someone to live. I can't tell for sure because it's only 1 minute and I quickly listened. So I was just kind of skimming it really quickly. So I can't be 100% sure, but I did check on him and he is my next, session to do. I'm trying to work on Michael Jackson right now. I did a 25-minute session with Michael Jackson. Most of it is just me asking questions. So, like, my questions were very involved because I wanted everyone who listened to the session to know what the conspiracies are about Michael Jackson. Like, was it his? Was he really taking drugs? Was he taking a cocktail of drugs? Was that made up? Was he, did he, was he reckless and stuff like that? And that's why he died? Or was it the doctor that did it? Was it a mistake by the doctor? Was it premeditated? Things like that. So I got more involved with the question asking with Michael Jackson. And oh my gosh, you're not going to believe it. You're not going to believe it. It's not just that he died. He's telling me other stuff that goes along with Jeffrey Epstein and the group there. And he's actually, and I'm just going to double check again because I just finished that part. I'm like, it's 25 minutes. So I think I'm like 7 minutes in. And it said something about killing and feeding on his daughter. Now, I know this is not Paris we're talking about. This could be another daughter, and you know how they're doing that. They're making clones. They're making, in China, they're making them, like, the artists have children so that they can lord it over them and get them to toe the line. Because frankly, they're abusing so much that they have to keep them alive somehow. Like, they're pushing them so far. I can't. A lot of them would just decide not to continue on if they didn't have something to live for. So I think that might have been something they did with Michael, and so that part came through. So I'm only about 7 minutes in, and I'm trying to decide whether I'm going to do it in 2 parts or put it in a big long video. So what do you guys think? Should I do it in 2 parts or a long video? Yes, I got my first repaired on Thursday, finally. Um, and the guy said to me, they didn't even need to red tag it, he said, because it wasn't that bad. He said that the company that came in that red tagged it and said it had to be replaced and made it so that it had to be done or they would have shut off my gas because they said it was dangerous. He said, oh, it wasn't really that bad. And I said, well, did you go and you look inside the, you know, and he said, no, I just saw outside. It wasn't that rusty. And so I don't know who to believe. I don't know if the first company said It needed to be replaced to get me to buy a furnace from them, like to get, or if this guy was saying it because he wants me to get him to come back again. Do you know what I mean? Sometimes they play those kind of games to gain your trust. Like, oh dear, I would have just put in this part and that part and it would have cost you this, you know? So lots of times, being a woman and going to, a garage to get something fixed on your car, they're not, they kind of pay fast and loose with you as a woman, not thinking you know what you're talking about. And because when I was much younger, my first boyfriend was a mechanic. I spent a lot of time hanging out with him in the garage. I know a fair bit about cars. So, I can't overhaul a complete car, but I do a lot of the little things myself on my car. So they can't really say that to me. Um, but the furnace is fixed now. One way or another, it's fixed, right? So, and that's the important thing. And guess what? Just in time, because guess how hot it was today? It's been like 15 below and around 5 below. And suddenly it gets fixed on Thursday. This whole weekend's been warm. It was 20 degrees today. No, that's Celsius for the Americans. It was 20 degrees today. It was gorgeous today. And it's supposed to stay that way, like in the teens, for the rest of the next week or so. So just in time for my furnace to actually be working properly. You know. So what I wanted to talk tonight about was a couple of things. I wanted to focus on because I got a lot of questions about the games. You know, I get also a lot of questions about how can I talk to spirit when the person's alive. So I wanted to go into that a little uh, deeper, and then I also wanted to talk about complete and utter hopelessness we all must be feeling, that we can't do anything about this. I get that so often. Like, people keep asking me, what can we do? What can we do? And aside from the things that I've suggested, which is boycotting the industry, um, continuing to do what you're doing and staying on top of the topic, um, sharing it with others, so if they don't know about it, they will know more details. And in sharing with them, letting them know where they can sign the petition on a vase. So, and also another thing too, I know that must be, at first I thought the numbers were slow because every once in a while a vase will come through and they'll look for duplicate signatures. And some people sign it like they think they're voting on their favorite artist. You know what I mean? Oh, I'll sign it 5 times or whatever. But you can't do that with a petition. It's just once. You can only sign once. So I thought the numbers were being, were going down because of that. But I think it's truly now, I believe it's being manipulated for sure. So I don't know if that's really going to help anyway. So, these are the things that I get quite often. Like, people say to me, well, what can we do? And I feel like saying, uh, exactly, what can we do, right? But the thing is, even you said to myself, to Ty, to Candace, that, more artists are going to die before this ends. There's nothing we can do to stop that. Our hands are tied. Aside from me suddenly being bitten by a spider or something like that and gaining superpowers, I can't stop this. But I can boycott the industry. I can come up with ideas like crazy ones, like I did when I went on to Auntie Bay's uh, live. I think her channel name is California Girl or something like that, or California Life. I went on hers and I said, listen, Hugh, how can we help you? Well, fight fire with fire and fight a thug with a thug. Can we find a mobster? Someone must know someone who's shady as fuck. You know what I mean? Excuse my language. Someone has to know a shady person or two. and see if they'll go, and if they're a fan of you, if they'll go and see if they can snatch them and smuggle them out of the country, like they smuggle drugs and children and all that stuff, right? See if they can do that. Um, you know, um, I said, why don't you get every fan to go down to Chihao and just fucking bust the place down and light it on fire? It's on fire. They have to evacuate the prisoners at that time. Document everything and get it out of the country. They'll have the prisoners coming out in really rough shape and maybe shackled and maybe half dressed, and that's going to look awfully shady, isn't it? If we can document that. Wait for Hugh to make a public appearance and snatch him in one of the white vans like they have where they harvest your organs. The police are already told not to bother pulling those white vans over because the police are in on it. So if you have a cube van as well that's white, they're probably going to ignore it and get him out of the country somehow. Get him to an American consulate. See if they can help. Give him asylum. Um, I don't know if he would go because I think they have, his family. I thought they said in one of the sessions that they took my child up north. So I think they took his older child, his daughter, up north. But it also said in the session that um, my wife struck my child, so I'm wondering if his wife is not in on it with them and he's some sort of handler for him. It didn't come out and say that, but it's just what I'm inferring from it. So, you know, I'm racking my brain constantly trying to think of things we can do. I know that Amnesty International is not going to get involved in something like this. If they could let Falun Gong and the things happen to the Uyghurs and the Falun Gong for years, and these are like thousands of people, they're not going to step in for hundreds of artists. Do you guys think? So I don't think we can count on them. Um, so let me tell you what I know about the games from every session that sort of mentioned them. I'll tell you how it works as far as I can tell. It's mentioned that there's 87 different locations where they have live events. It doesn't necessarily mean that's 87 countries. It just means 87 separate locations. But I believe it's global. I believe it's all around the world. And um, that's why you had, like, someone asked me, like, can you find out why there was a black vehicle outside of the art district with a guitar plate that was ambassadors plates? And I'll tell you exactly why, because it's global, because it's every country. That's why you had that dinner party with all those foreigners there when Yu Meng Long was being tortured, because they probably were the ones bidding on stuff and watching the lives and being involved in this. Um, so here's how I believe they make money on the games. I believe it's pay per view, like you would with a wrestling match or a sporting event. And then I also believe that you can bet on the outcome, like you would a sporting event, like a cockfight or a dog fight. You can bet on the outcome. I think that someone has to die, or at least, you know, everybody has to die but one person, sort of thing, to up the stakes. I believe the spirits have said to me that they can have several games going on and have hundreds of people die in days. So that means that it's not like once a month. It's happening more often than that. And it's happening all over the world. So it could be happening in these 87 different locations once every couple of days. You know what I mean? Like, um, I think that there's various games that they play. I think what they do is they pit people against each other, like one on one or group fight. You know what I mean? And then you have to survive, and you're given weapons or not. You know, um, I believe that other type of game is surviving torture. You know what I mean? If you can be tortured like without passing out, or be tortured without screaming, or something like that, you win in that way. Because when I hear and I talk to these spirits that are gone and are still here, they all say they're being tortured, electrocuted. Um, the stretching of the fingers, like Kimmy said, and we saw Yu Meng Long's fingers when he was holding the phone and they were purple. Things like that. Um, I think they race. Some of them race because it said I'm going to be made to race, whether that's a foot race or not. I know that they mentioned with John Cook that they wanted he may be drawn in a bike race, a motorcycle race, and he won't survive because he'll go too fast and lose control. Um, so there's different types of races as well. Um, I believe that uh, they have things like sponsors for this because they mentioned a sponsor in the last session. If my sponsor helps me, I might be able to do this. Um, oh, shoot. Why am I blanking on his name? Not Hugh, but the new guy that I did the session on. What is his name? Oh, not Zhang Bing Bing. Oh, Yang Yang. Yang Yang. He was saying that if the sponsor did this, it would give me an advantage. And they also say captains. They've mentioned coach and captain before. So, like I said before, remember I said that Dilleraba was supposed to compete, and Ching Song um, went after Fan Shiki, it said in the session, because he was trying to manipulate the outcome. And Fan Shiki was a coach or the team captain for another bunch of artists. So I believe they actually have under them, these captains have artists under them that will compete. So they have to manage these people. That's what I think is going on with that. Um, I think by the time that their teeth are extracted, there's no going back. There's absolutely, the deal is done. Um, their fate is sealed. It's like the last straw. And I think that the whole industry exploits them. Like with Hugh, when I first did a session on Hugh, it talked about him being made to entertain and pour drinks and other things. And then when I talked about Chen Dueling, they said that she was made to do the same thing, and that they're all being sexually abused, all of them. Um, and they really don't have any ability to say no. They really don't have the. And oh my gosh, I'm telling you right now, I'm so frustrated because I keep seeing in my feed shorts coming up about Dilleraba. Okay, Dilleraba. I'll just call her Raba because I know I'm saying it wrong. Anyway, And it's saying how, oh, she doesn't own her home because she works all year round and only takes about 4 days off a year, like praising her for working like a dog. And, it's showing her with like, Yang Mi, Yang Mi. And it's saying like, oh, she's so dedicated and saying stuff like that, like they used to do with you. Oh, look how frugal he is with money. He only buys like a cheap coat because they can't buy anything more. They have no control of their lives. And they say how she stays in hotels because she moves around so much. She's a prisoner. That's a freaking prisoner. Let me ask you. I bet you if you looked into Yang Mi, I bet you she has several homes. And I bet you her mother does too. The one who purchased the fake Dilleraba. And the whole baloney about her being stuck in Dubai. You want to know why she's stuck in Dubai? I'm doing air quotes right now. Because she was going to the fashion week and she was going to be modeling Dior. Okay. So guess what can't happen when you go to the fashion week? A fake could not pass as her because the measurements wouldn't have been exact. For example, she may have had the same size waist, but her height may be different, the length of her arms and the length of her legs. Maybe her thighs would have been smaller or bigger. These things can be explained by weight, but your skeletal structure cannot be explained away if it doesn't match entirely. Don't tell me Dior wouldn't have noticed that. So, oh, now she's suddenly stuck in Dubai and can't leave? Yes, I know that. And why did they have her fly from Dubai anyway? Her whole team is over in Paris making her look bad, but they have to shunt her through Dubai when her team has a straight flight? Tell me that's not. Tell me what's wrong with that picture. Does everybody see something up with that picture? Why is she having to stop in Dubai in the Emirates, United Emirates, and fly a whole different, supposedly, air quotes again, fly a whole different, not fly Air China, fly United Emirates? Why? And they're stopping in Dubai? Some people say because she wanted to shop or something beforehand. No, she would have gone there early to make sure like the fits were right before the fashion week started. She's not because she's in freaking some scam compound, just dating a baby that's not even her own. And you know who's spreading these stupid rumors? Yang Mi. I told you all along. I told you guys. There's nothing good about that woman. She's got an aura around her that is black. Black, black, black. Anyway. Um, so now suddenly her her contract was up for months now. And suddenly now the next person to have it is Tian Yi, is a subsidiary of Tian Yu, right? And it's run by her mother. Interesting, interesting, right? Right? I mean, anyone. And then I have people like they contact me and they say, "Please stop spreading rumors. You're going to ruin someone's life by spreading rumors." Excuse me? Come on, come on. I just want to say, wake up. Wake up. Look at the facts. Do you not see how, why would they send the artist on a trip having a stopover and then send the makeup artist with a no stopover ticket? It makes no sense, right? So just look at it logically, right? Just like someone said to me, Jim Carrey, He's fine. He's fine, right? He's not dead. Because how, like, the guy that was there at the, at the Caesar Awards, getting his, getting the Lifetime Achievement Award with green eyes, light green eyes, with no central heterochromia in them, which Jim has central heterochromia. It's it's a genetic trait where you have a different color of the eye around the pupil in the iris, and his is like a mossy green. That's the different color, and the rest of it is dark brown. So this guy had a pure light green. That was it. There was no central heterochromia. He signed everything with his right hand. Jim is a left-handed person. Okay. He didn't even act like him. He had none of his charisma. None of that. But what I'm going to say is, okay, so maybe I'm wrong. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe Jim is laughing it, yucking it up somewhere, right? Going, oh, all these stupid people think I'm dead, right? Because they sent a decoy in because they didn't want to go, right? He's mentioned using decoys before when to like send the paparazzi in another direction when he would just want to have a day out, right? And the paparazzi would follow the decoy. This is different. This is a Lifetime Achievement Award. Like Jim would not send a decoy to accept his reward. And if he like award, and okay, even if he did, by now he would see how much that's blown up, and he would be coming forward and saying, instead of doing an AI texted sort of like audio, they only had audio of him saying, "Oh, I'm so happy you guys, are still so invested in me that if any slight change, you're panicked that I might be dead." You know what I mean? And that you're paying attention, things like that. They do that with Chinese artists too. Just like with Yang Yang. No, I'm perfectly fine. He puts on Weibo, right? He's not perfectly fine. They're just standing over him with a gun to his head saying, well, you better make this sound good or you're dead. You know? But I mean, if it was true, all what Jim would have to do is hold a press conference or get on live and say, hey guys, it's me. Yeah, I gained a little weight in my face, and yeah, I look a little older, and I had some work done because, I'm looking like my grandpa. None of that has happened because he can't do that. But you're always going to have the people that just don't want to believe. It's called um, cognitive dissonance, where it doesn't fit their life view, so they won't even look in that direction. No, it cannot be. I don't live in a world like that. That's not possible. You're being ridiculous. Put your tinfoil hat back on, right? So many people have said for the last decade, have been saying something's up. And they've been called conspiracy theorists. They've been called every name in the book. They've been called insane. Yes, go, yeah, bud, get back on your meds. And now they've been vindicated because all of those things they've been saying have been found out to be true. So, yeah, it's driving me a little bonkers because, yeah, I'm seeing a lot of the Dilleraba propaganda and lies coming up now because they're trying to push the narrative that this imposter is her, and it's a sin because I really liked her acting. I saw her once in a movie where she was a little fox, and the guy she liked had long white hair, and I just loved that movie. I thought it was great. I don't remember what it was called, but she was a really good actress, and I'm sure she's a really brilliant person. You know, and kind and loving, and and you have people like Yang Mi, that rotten homunculus. I swear, if we saw her soul, ugh, ugh, ugh. Anyway, I don't know how anyone could think she's great. You know. Hmm. So yeah, I don't know. I'm feeling a little like I'm raring to go right now because I'm getting a little tired of it. After I heard with Michael Jackson, I thought it was just going to be, oh, the industry got rid of me, and I'm hearing all this dark stuff again, and I'm like, what the heck? What the heck? Why is all this darkness coming out? Have we sort of have our dimension collapsed or something into a dark dimension, and now we live with monsters? Is that what's happened? Because I never heard or ever thought of any of this stuff 10 years ago. Did like CERN start up and collapse some like dimensions and open like a black hole or something, and now here we are dealing with the fallout? I don't know. Something seems off though. So the games are and how do I think we can, even if like they said that in my last session. It was Hugh or Yang said it. Said even if the boss goes down, which we all know who the boss is, right? It's the main head guy in China, Xi Jinping, and his brother, who manages everything for him, um, Xi Yuanping. Even if they go down, the Xi family goes down, it's not going to stop the games because they're global. There's going to be someone else who steps up. Even if the CCP goes down, we're still going to have the elite, right? Try and put these games on because, okay, all right, so bottom line, this is what's going on. So we all know these perpetrators are low vibrational, multidimensional beings, right? Correct? We know that they harvest low vibrational energy. So that's why they terrify people before they harvest their energy. Because fear, sadness, hopelessness, all of that is low vibration. And they feed on that. And that's why they make us scared of the general populace, because they feed on our energy too. That's why they have these sort of rituals in the Olympics, you know, and and they have rituals at concerts. They have rituals at the Grammys and stuff like that. They're setting these rituals up to. It's almost like um, a net. It's almost like throwing a fishing net over the world. Okay, they're linking these ley lines or sort of, how can I explain it? Anyway, so they're having these rituals in certain, like Bohemian Grove and other locations. They have these rituals, and they're feeding on the energy of us in this world. And I don't know if they're, again, I heard aliens again in the Michael Jackson um, session. Straight up alien. Says it as clear as a bell. And you know what else too? I was doing Michael Jackson's session, and his actual voice came through. His real voice. I was so like, wow, that's him. That's his voice. That soft spoken voice it's hard to miss. Anyway, so we know this. They're low vibrational, multi-dimensional beings. Whether that means reptilian, whether that means alien, whether that means demon. Who's to say that the word demon is just not another word that ancient peoples had for a multidimensional being or an extraterrestrial being, things like that? They just put the word demon on it. It's just a word. And like Arabics would call it jinn, or you know what I mean? Or the natives would call it a skinwalker, right? Um, but it's all the same thing. It's just how we perceive them and what word we put on it. Um, so that's why I don't allow this to scare me. I don't allow people constantly saying, "Ooh, you shouldn't put that out there. You shouldn't say this, or you should censor your words because you can't say killed and you can't say suicide and you can't say this." You know what I mean? And they just, because everybody's afraid, right? But what's that frequency? What's fear frequency? It's the one they find delicious, right? It's like yum. That's why World War III and all this stuff, they want to, and riots in the streets, and they want to divide us, right? And they, don't let it scare me. And I stay on the positive side of it. And I look at it like I'm doing this and I'm doing this to help. And no matter how many people come to me and say, oh, are you proud of yourself for your clickbaiting and your, what are some of the other things they say? Um, um, oh no, I can't remember, but it's pretty much saying I'm doing this for attention, right? Like what attention? Am I a big fish? No. Do I have millions of followers? No. I'm just doing this to get this out because these people who have passed over, like, look at it. Guan Chen, right? Nobody even knows he's dead in China. They're all just running around worshiping his replacement, which is obvious. When he was replaced, the guy went on live with the face mask on. Why? Why? And he didn't say one word. Not one word on that live. If you are an agency and if you are the artist and people think you've died and you're being tortured or you're being held against your will, are you going to show up on a live with the full face mask on for no reason at all in a empty studio and not say anything but do a couple of really bad dance moves? Like, it's so obvious. They're being so obvious, and you know why they're being obvious? Because they don't care. Because they know they're going to convince the people who don't want to believe. They've already got their attention. The ones that say, no, that can't be that, Jim Carrey is still alive. That was Jim Carrey. Don't be ridiculous. I don't like to call NPCs because I think that's a derogatory term. But that's what they're behaving like. They're behaving like they're in the game and they're just there to say their line and wait for another adventurer to come along and say, oh, I got an arrow in my knee. You know what I mean? Something like that, right? Forget what that game was. My kids played all those games. I knew them all. I used to play with them sometimes on live. And it was hilarious. We'd play something like Halo. And I would be on the headset and I'd be like, I don't know how to move forward, or I'm crawling when I'm not supposed to be crawling, like you would in army crawl. And then I'd hear young boy voices on the line going, who's that? What's that? And I'm like, one of my kids would go, that's my mom. You know what I mean? And they'd be like, oh, protect the mom. And they'd all come over and flank me so that no one could kill me in the game. It was so funny. It was so funny and so much fun. But I think I don't want to say there's nothing we can do because I can see things happening right now in China. I can just see it. Like, I'm keeping abreast of what's happening. 171 politicians did not show up at the last meeting on March 4th and 5th. And these were like mandatory meetings that you have to attend. So that means they've been purged. They've disappeared. Either they're under arrest or they're dead. They didn't show up, right? And then you have all those military, um, generals and admirals even, and they've been purged in the hundreds, and the rocket force is completely gone, right? And you see that the CMC, the Chinese Military Commission, is only just Xi Jinping and another general, which he can't be on his own on the whole commission. He's got to give someone else the work because this guy's not smart enough to do it himself. Like, I'm telling you, this guy is not smart enough. He's got Tsai C or whatever his name is, doing all the paperwork for him, and this guy's just a straight up thug. He's just a mob boss. He just throws his weight around. He's like, shoots first, asks questions later. So there's good news. It's such a mess that they're not going to be able to start a war on Taiwan. But it doesn't mean he's not going to flip the table and do something stupid, like launch an airstrike. He may get a couple of shots in, but there's no way they can put together, with the military refusing to listen to Xi because they all know they're buggered anyway. If they fall in line, they know they're just going to be maybe the next one to go because he's unpredictable. But I can envision him right now. You know what they're doing? Because they found out all that digital, cameras all over Iran, keeping an eye on the people. Guess what it did? It told on them. And all these leaders ended up, they got pinpoint locations on them using their own digital spyware on what they use to control their people. And not only that, the dentists and the doctors that went in that put the tracking devices in their molars when they got a filling, as well as, proctologists sticking those things where the sun don't shine, and they were tracking devices. So if they wanted to hit, what is his name, Kamina, all they had to do was look at a screen and would have been a little red blip on the screen. So they knew every location. That's why they could hit pinpoint strikes, right? So now what's she doing? Tearing down these cameras or dismantling them or shutting them off because he's afraid. And I wouldn't doubt that he's quaking in his boots in a bunker that he knows is definitely not deep enough to stop the strike from coming. So he's not only looking paranoid about the people that are supposed to be supporting him, he's paranoid about getting taken out by Donald Trump. And Donald Trump said, sure, I'll come and see you. When's his visit date? April 1st. Wow. And who's providing? Who were the two locations that provided crude oil to China? Venezuela, right? They had a deal with Venezuela to get it for like $40 a barrel and sell it for like $80 when they brought it to China, to the people, to forego what Venezuela owed them, which should have gone to the people, but they completely embezzled it from them. And who else provided crude oil to them? Iran. So guess what's going to happen? What is there going to be a shortage of? Oil, right? Not only that, natural gas and diesel. What do trucks run on? Diesel. So if you don't have enough diesel for trucks, you don't have transportation of products around China. So it's going to lead to just massive shortages and empty shelves and a lot of lack, which I said in my prediction for China. when the spirits told me what was going to happen this year. It said that there's going to be a virus that goes around. It's going to be really serious, going to hit 1 in 5 homes. And then it also said that they're going to be calling out to Trump to say, the phone rang and it said Donald, remember? Ring! Donald! That's exactly how it sounded. On the, no mistaking it, loud as a bell, and then it said, help us, we're starving. He's killing us. These are the spirits of the people of China that are calling out through the box saying what they're going to be saying, and so they're saying it now. Okay, turn your gun on and hit a direct strike on Zhongyan High. Do it now. We all want it. So, but this is how I prevent sort of these low vibrational extra dimensional beings from seeing me, is because I don't allow my frequency and my vibration to get into a low state. So you know how a cat see, right? Their frame rate. So a cat early on in old televisions couldn't see what was going on in the screen because the frame rate was too slow for them. So it was almost like a strobe light effect that they were having. They couldn't see a solid picture, right? That's what it's like for these lower dimensional beings. If you're vibrating at a higher frame rate, if you're vibrating, it's like they can't perceive it. It's like, with the dogs. Dogs hear in a different, frequency as well. So when you blow a dog whistle, none of us are going to hear it. But dogs will react all around the neighborhood, right? So that's why we have to stay in a positive attitude and keep your vibration high and your frequency high. And they can't perceive you. Do that, and so like cats, they see it's faster frame rate. I think it's called frequency fusion or something like that. So like modern TVs, yes, they can see them. So you could put your cat in front of your TV right now and be able to watch the birds on the TV, but the older ones they couldn't. So it distorts what they see. If you know deep down that you're safe, then you will be completely safe. And that's what I know. I'm safe. I'm completely and utterly safe. Um, you know, it's all about how you see it. Like my mom passed away. I think I told you guys that. My dad was talking to my youngest sister. And he said, oh, I think I know when I'm going to die, he said. He's being so morose. I think it's like seasonal as well because it's winter time and there's lots of snow and you can't get out as much in the maritime provinces. It's kind of messy. And, he's just being very morose and he's like, I know when I'm going to die, and he's sort of giving a date. But that's what it is. Like if you say to yourself, if a doctor says to you, well, you've got cancer and it's not looking good. You say, yeah, I'm dying. It's true. It's true. You'll die because that's the power of the mind. That's the power of the mind. Placebo effect, nocebo effect, right? Look how many studies they've done, or where they've trialed new drugs on individuals who are like stage 4 or stage 5 cancer or something like that. And the results come in, and the ones that are on the drug, yeah, they show an improvement. But you also have some of the individuals who are on the placebo, the sugar pill, show an improvement as well. Because they actually believe they're getting the cure. And because they believe it in their head, it becomes a reality. So, yeah. We have to believe it in our heads that this is going to stop, that we're going to be able to make a difference in this. Because we are making a difference. Look at us. How many times have you been able to point out in history where someone has died as an actor or actress under mysterious circumstances. And there's been a heck of a lot of them because I know now that I'm doing all this research into this. And you know, when I get like 20 requests a day, can you check this person? I think this person was killed. Or, you know, can you check Michael Jackson? Can you check Brittany Murphy? Can you check it's just like an astronomical amount. Do you really think Kurt Cobain committed suicide, or was there something else to it? What about Michael Hutchinson's from In Excess? You know, like all of these suicides. What if none of them were suicides? What if they were all just taken out and all these artists we idolize are just being used as pawns in this sick game that's a global game? You know? What if? But here's what's happening. Now that we know, we're not letting it go. We're not letting it go. Yu Meng Lung died, and they thought we would have memories of a goldfish. And a week would go by, and we'd all just go back to blindly following along and handing our money over to them, willy nilly, hand over fist. Here, just take all my money and go. And what's happened? The movie theaters in China are like talking about having to close because there's nobody going to movies anymore. We don't want to be fooled anymore. We don't want it. You can get your money elsewhere. We already work hard enough for the money that we have, which is a pittance of what these elites have. You know, we already have we work so hard. Why would we give these horrible people more money and allow them to live on their yachts where they eat babies, do terrible things? It makes no sense, right? So they expected us, and they still expect us. And that's why every time something happens with Yu Meng Long, where they had the Spring Festival, where they were doing on Chinese Lunar New Year, and they shut that down as soon as they realized the symbolism involved was celebrating Yu Meng Long. They just dead air. No preemptive, no force majeure, nothing. Just boop, dead air. Because you know why? Because she is shitting a brick right now. Because he realizes what a mistake he made in going after one of God's creatures, one of God's, you know, um, light bringers on earth. He knows he's made a huge mistake. Knows he's made a huge mistake. And, you know, like, oh, he's just going to keep, it's going to keep falling apart because he's brought this karma on himself. It's a boomerang to him. It's boomerang to him. And no amount of kill this person, kill that person is going to turn it around. So, oh, speaking of, the reason I believe that Hugh is still alive is because when this happened in Iran, when they had these pinpoint precision strikes, and they were aware of where all the leaders were and the generals and so on, what do you think? She was sitting in his office, and Tai Tsi came to him and said, "Look, the Kamani's dead. He's dead." Right? And they hit him with an airstrike, and they knew exactly where he was in his bunker that was supposed to be impenetrable. But of course, the US has all the best bombs, right? And you know what she said? Oh, God, we're going to have all these big, prominent elites and political leaders going to a game, right? And they're going to be betting on artists' lives when they really should be betting on their own lives because under all in the same roof, that would be the perfect chance to get rid of everybody, wouldn't it? Just strike them all dead because they're all together in the same location. You know, they had this big meeting on the 4th and 5th in Beijing. And normally every year this happens. The politicians come from all over and they go and they party at night and probably get all the artists to, like probably like destroy the lives of artists all over Beijing. You know what I mean? But they go and they party and they meet with each other and they do this and they stay in luxury hotels. And depending on how important you are, you had the better hotel and all that. This time around, it's like they're prisoners. They're all separately, so they can't talk with each other. They all, there's no parties going on. They're being watched closely to see if they even whisper to the one next to them. Nobody will even turn their head in the room that they're talking in for afraid that it may be preconceived as them giving signals. Imagine. Oh, they're all getting their just desserts now. They're all sitting there in terror because they know that there at any chance there could be a knife in their back from their comrades, you know? And how did that happen? They blindly followed Xi and they were yes men. They never stood up to him. They allowed him to eliminate term limits. And here he is. Now they have a de facto emperor. And they don't know what to do with them because none of them has a backbone to deal with them. Except for Zhang Yuxia, who used every effort he could, including Yu Meng Long, to try to get an upper hand on him. And including trying to blow him up in the underground tunnel. It turned out to be his double that was there and not him. So that's why Xi Jinping went after Zhang Yuxia, because Zhang Yuxia took a hard shot at him, because he knew the elders weren't going to have a backbone and deal with him. And they didn't want to see the CCP go down. So they're like, oh, he'll play ball, and when we go in October of next year, he'll step down. No, 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 no. She wants to be in office until he dies and to hand it down to a illegitimate child of his, so it could be just like it was in the Ming Dynasty, where you had it be the Shi family would now be the emperors of China, right? That's what he wanted. Isn't that lovely? Oh, oh my gosh. I think I just ranted too much. Oh, cold tea. Nothing like it. So, yes, in the fake Chen Duling, like these people, this makes me wonder, right? Because you have people saying, oh, and I'm gonna, whom else I'm gonna do this week? I'm gonna do Chenkun and Britney Spears. Because what the heck's going on with Britney Spears? Is she losing it? You know what some of the people are saying? That Britney Spears was replaced years ago, and this is her clone, and her clone is just deconstructing because it's a clone. And it's like a copy of a copy of a copy or whatever. Oh, yes. So I heard like someone says Gina Davis might be. And then I also heard from Elizabeth April, which I can't even believe I'm saying these things. I can't even believe I'm saying these things. But Selena Gomez might be Gina Davis? How? Gina Davis is like, what, 60? Like, what's her age? Oh, what's going on here? The chat's going. Okay, there it is. How is that possible? Can someone explain that to me? And then I listened to Elizabeth April, and you guys should check out her channel. She's like a remote viewer, and she was saying that they actually have the ability, these low vibrational interdimensional beings, to remove a soul from a body and put another soul in there. So it's almost like Yeah, you want to live forever? Well, you will just put your soul into a young body, and then you'll live for the next 60 years, and then we'll do it again after that. And so you can live forever. Um, and then I remembered what Guanjin Chen said to me about his experience, how he saw the demon crawling towards his body when he left his body, right? And and I'm wondering if that demon entered his body. Could this, I saw that um, Jun Chen was in the festival, like he was on TV singing for the Lunar New Year, but I didn't see his hand to see if I could see his beauty mark on his hand. Um, and I couldn't tell with him dancing around um, if it was like could it be the real him and then someone else is just inside his body like a demon. And it said that it devoured his soul. Oh yes, I meant to tell you guys how that's possible if you guys would like to know how how it all works with your soul and your spirit. um, how you can have spirit on earth um, that's not crossed over, have attachments to things. Um, so yeah, because a lot of people are saying, how can you talk to someone who's alive and talk to their spirit? Um, and like, there's some people who do EVP or do ITC communication, which is spirit box communication. Other things, ITC. Um, could be different kinds of communication. Like some people use static on a screen. So that's just all the different kinds that you can do is just called ITC communication. Spirit box communication is specific to spirit box. Um, let's see now. Oh my goodness. Oh boy. So just to break it down, the difference between spirit attached to a source or a root soul lies in the relationship to individuality, purpose, and origin. So a root soul is the foundational, eternal, and divine essence of an individual's unique being, their true self. Okay, so that's what is you that makes you you. Okay, in contrast, the spirit is attached to source. It often refers to a supportive energy or a guide connected to the ultimate source, God, the divine, universal consciousness, whatever you look at the a greater power to be. Um, so, in other contexts, it's an external entity attached to a person's energy field. So, think of it like this. So, you have Source, God, the divinity, um, true consciousness, or whatever. And then you have your spirit. Think of it as an umbilical cord attached to a mother. Okay. Now, your spirit is the gestating baby. Okay, that's attached to spirit, and your spirit is in this lifetime experiencing life, experiencing ups and downs and karma, and you're trying to evolve, right? You're trying to learn, and you're bringing all that knowledge you gain in this life back to source when you die. Okay. um So the definition is the foundation, the eternal part of a person, sometimes described as a spark of God from above. Okay, that, and then so the purpose is to experience the universe. So we experience the universe through our soul journey on this planet. And we are doing that to bring these lessons and karmic experiences of many lifetimes back to source. So spirit's attached to source. So yeah. So how do I put it? Okay. So here's, I'm just going to talk straight about it because I was trying to follow along with some guidelines, but okay, so you go and when you die, okay, your soul leaves your body, okay, and people believe it happens from the crown chakra, right? You leave your body through the top of your head, okay, and you look over yourself and you see yourself dead, or you see what's happening to you. Maybe you're on an operating room table, and you don't immediately go to the other side. You're kind of, your frequency is still not at the right setting for you to transition over to the other side, and you may linger. It's called lingering for days. And that's why a lot of people, when someone dies, they feel their presence. Maybe they feel their presence at the funeral, you know? Maybe they feel their presence in at their home where they spent a lot of their time, maybe in their favorite chair, things like that. Because they linger around their family members to ensure they're okay, and they haven't let go enough of the earthly experience yet, okay, before they cross over. And so this may take days, sometimes it may take weeks if they're still um, if they are still, how do I put it, if they're still so attached, like there's lots of things that they regret. It may take them a lot longer. So you may have people who have had a traumatic death as well, or a traumatic life, that they never dealt with it in lifetime, where they may linger as a fractured spirit. Okay. So that's where people will have like this spirit that they have to help cross over, this piece of their spirit that they have to help cross over. Like, for example, I was listening to a paranormal investigator that was talking to the victims of Jeffrey Epstein, and a lot of them needed help crossing over because these fractured spirits were stuck in the memory of what had happened to them and how they had died. So it was almost on loop. It was almost like, let's say you were in World War II and your plane was going down, and before it went down, it blew up and you were burning up inside the cockpit. And that fractured your spirit, and you ended up in that loop of constantly flying that flight that day and having the same thing happen over and over again. Um, there was the Catone or whatever paranormal. They did a spirit box session with a young guy who was only like 20 years old that was flying from one part of Australia to the other just on a day trip to go get some, I think it was like crawfish or something, like just to fly and have a good flight and a good day. And the plane was actually attacked by aliens, and the ghost was saying, like the spirit was saying, it was aliens, you know what I mean? But he was stuck in that moment of death, and he just kept repeating it to her. He wasn't saying like, oh, and she was saying like, are you on the other side with your family now? Who are you with? And he was just stuck in that moment, so she had to get the monk to come forward and her spirit guide to help cross the person over. So you have So when I talk to spirit, I'm talking to the part of your. Let's just think of it as your administration crew or whatever. Um, they keep you anchored, sort of thing, and they maybe are the ones that are constantly looking at your akashic records, are aware of all your previous lives. The soul isn't. The soul passes over when it passes over, It has a life review, and then you can choose to reincarnate right away, or you can choose to take some time to heal a little bit before you reincarnate. You can also choose to wait for some of or all of your soul tribe to pass over so that you can reincarnate again together. So it's all up to you, but time passes differently over there. So some things can happen in the blink of an eye, and some things can seem to take forever. Like a long period of time passes there when it's only a week here. So, yeah. And then, so when you reincarnate, you can choose your next journey, what you want to do, what you want to learn, and you create a soul contract of your, and you write soul contracts. So if in this life you find your life is not going well, you find you think you're completely unhinged and unanchored, and it just seems very off to you, sometimes you can sit down in meditation and just have a talk with yourself and say, listen, I let go of all previous soul contracts. It's not in my best interest. I can feel it in my heart of hearts. And, and covenants and contracts I made with others before coming here. This is just not working out for me. And you can break those contracts. It's up to you. You're the one that chose the path you choose. No one told you to come here and be the next Mother Teresa. You know, no one, like, for example, I wonder sometimes people who have the hardest time, right? Did they really sit down and say, yeah, I want to be, you know, have arthritis so bad that I feel like my bones are gnawing out of my body 24/7? You know, I want to experience pain. Can you imagine someone saying that on the other side? Or did they say, I want to have grace even in the face of the worst pain in the world? You know what I mean? And ended up with arthritis. Oh my goodness, rheumatoid arthritis can be crippling, right? But so basically, who I'm talking to is spirit. And you know how when mediums say, I'm bringing my spirit guide in, that's these people are like, you can have twin flames be a fractured part of your spirit, and they come here and you come here in pairs, so you experience more in the same lifetime from different angles. And then you meet this twin flame, this this other part of your spirit, and it's just automatically click with the person, right? And it's like, oh, long lost part of me, and you just feel it. And those are the people that come, stay together for a lifetime, and they're old and they're still holding hands at 99, and they'll go and they'll cross over within weeks of each other, and then they reunite on the other side and combine back again and decide if they're going to split again to learn more in a lifetime. So a lot of those things are quite, yeah. So the fractures happen. The fractures can happen when you have trauma during death, and you end up with a fractured part of your spirit, and you can have a spirit attachment, and that spirit attachment can happen when you can have a spirit attached to you because they're, trying to get your attention, or, if it's not such a great spirit, they weren't great in life and they're still holding on to the horrible person they were, because they haven't crossed over, they haven't done their life review, they haven't realized. They're trying to live vicarious through you, then you end up with possessions and, oppressions and stuff like that. They want to take over your body. And then you can also have walk-ins. Most of those happen during an accident, or when you're under anesthetic, or if you're in coma, or if you're, you know what I mean, a walk-in can happen. or a soul can come that's like and walk into the body, and the other soul can say, okay, I'm done, I'm going to leave, so you can take over this body. So sometimes you can have a walk-in situation. My sister, my twin sister, thinks she's a walk-in. I think I mentioned before. She was died on the table during surgery, and she thinks she walked in. Yeah, which how do you deal with that? You're like, okay, where's my actual sister that came here with me? Oh, she's gone. Oh well, okay. And seeing that we're twin sisters, I have a pretty close relationship with the non-walk-in. So sometimes I find it a little bit difficult to um, connect with the walk-in because I feel it. I know, I know. And oh, I just wanted to explain as well that I was watching. This is what I mean by gnosis. It's Gnosis. It's what I have. And someone was saying that I might have, have clairvoyant, um, clairaudient, clairsentient. So clairvoyant is someone. Well, clairsentient is where you sense things. Clairaudient is when you hear it. Um, they said I might have cognizance, which is you just know it, and that might be it too. But anyway, I was watching Beast Wars, the final episode, and they had the suitcases, and the check was being put in a suitcase, and you were had to pick the number that it was in. You could have. Here comes my daughter. You gonna make lots of noise. No, last time you came by, you were drinking your Gatorade or whatever. It sounded, could hear it like a mile away. Um. Anyway, so every time you got another Gatorade, every time they put it in a new case, I guessed the case. I knew exactly what case it was in. So, but it never works for me when I do the lotto because actually I don't pick the numbers. I actually let it randomly pick numbers. Maybe I should pick the numbers. Maybe I should. So yeah, this is. So what I'm going to think, I think I'm going to do Britney Spears, but it's only going to be like a quick burst session of like 3 minutes or something like that. Just say, hey, what's going on with Britney? And then I'm going to do, I think I'm going to finish doing Chenkun because definitely something's going on with him. I've got plastination and he's got to play there. So I've got to determine which one is it. Does he have to play or is he already dead? But sometimes it's hard with spirits because, like I said before, time is not the same over there. It's like they know everything all at once. So they know your past, your present, and your future, and it's all the same to them there. It's like it's already happened. Even if it's going to happen in the future, it's already happened for them. So they'll say something in the past tense to me, and then the next sentence it's future tense, and then the next sentence it's present tense. So I'm like, what is it? And that's why sometimes it takes me a little while to decipher things, decipher what's going on. Oh, it's crazy. I don't know. I don't know what's going on in the world. What do you guys think? Do you think we're all doomed? We're all doomed. Are we doomed? Or do you think we all I think I think the CCP is going down now. It's crumbling now. By 2027 it's going to be completely gone. I think the Chinese people are going to stand up and say enough's enough. They're going to riot in the streets. They're going to. I think already there's like some slogans out there like kill the leaders and stuff like that. That like just get rid of them. I don't advocate violence, but I mean, you fight fire with fire, and these guys are just killing them. And there's no rhyme or reason to it. It's just they're just exploiting them for every penny. for their blood, for their organs, for their labor. I mean, scam compounds are just a microcosm of China. A scam compound's just a microcosm of China, right? Isn't it? In Myanmar, in Malaysia, the scam compounds are just do the exact same thing that China does to its people. You know, for example, I think I heard about a guy was interviewed who went to Cambodia, and he went to go get a job there. He's from China, and he was grabbed at the same time as another guy, and they were thrown in the back of a car, and they're like driven over this and that and blindfolded and stuff. And but he was in the car with this gentleman, and they asked him about his education, and he was saying that he was in marketing or something like that, and he knew some English and stuff like that. And then they asked the other guy, and the other guy was like a farmer, like from a small village, didn't have much of an education, and he said they immediately just sprayed down his stomach to take his organs. You know what I mean? With uh, they like he didn't even have a chance to prove his worth to them. They didn't see his value, and all of a sudden he was just someone to be harvested. And that's what's happening with these elites around the world. They're just look at all the rest of us, the ones that are not sailing on yachts and flying everywhere. Oh, I forgot to say this. Do you know what I realized? I did the speaking of flying everywhere. I did my session on Jim Carrey. And in the session, it kept bringing up Sean Combs, Diddy, Puff Daddy, things like that. And I was like, this can't be right. I mean, he's been incarcerated from like 2023, right? Or at least like 2023, I think, or beginning of 2024. And it was saying that Jim was the accidental shooting, which was kind of on purpose anyway, was on May 1st. And I was like, this can't be right. And then I saw an expert on, like, they follow planes, celebrities' planes all over the world. And they're like, oh, so this celebrity is now in the Bahamas. And this is kind of what they do as their hobby or pastime. Talk about live vicariously through somebody. So they said they watched P. Diddy's plane leave and fly to Bermuda or something like that the day he was supposedly arrested and put in jail, right? And then they continue to watch his plane fly everywhere around the world. So I said, wait a minute now. If he's got a double, because there's all these people talking about clones and doubles and things like that, if he's got a double, why wouldn't the double be in jail? Because I think Ghislaine Maxwell has got a double in there for her as well. Because if you look at that woman that's doing the time, her face doesn't even look remotely like Ghislaine Maxwell's. And like I said, if you're going to get plastic surgery to not look like yourself, you're certainly not, if you have any kind of money, going to make yourself look uglier. And this woman looks a lot like completely butch. Her nose is like shorter, like nothing matches skeletally. And I mean, it doesn't make sense. Then again, you go and you say, oh, that's not logical. No, no plastic surgeon wants to have someone look worse. I think some plastic surgeons who do plastic surgery, I think their ego would like um, not allow them to make someone look worse than when they started. I think it would just not something that they would do. So I'm thinking, hey, if these experts are saying, this expert that follows these planes saying P. Diddy's Planes going everywhere. Oh my goodness. Jim Carrey could have been at a P. Diddy party that he was forced to go to, and this could have happened there. Ugh, it's insane. It's so crazy. I can't even wrap my mind around this. Is everybody sort of. I want to ask a show of hands here. Can you type one if you think this is totally ludicrous and you could not even imagine something like this would happen? Like the Epstein files and all the stuff that's coming out in the Chinese entertainment system, industry. Or two, if you think that this is just a bunch of people blowing things out of proportion and, they're reading into everything and they're just, now everybody's going crazy. So what do you think? Is it one, this is like you're believing this but you can't, or two, we're just we're just going crazy and thinking too much into it? I'm retired. Listen, I want to retire from this whole mess. That's what I want to do. I want to retire from this. Listen, oh, what was it? There's this woman that I listened to. She used to live in Canada. She's in the US and she's in the oil industry as well. And she's like, she does like TikTok or whatever. And she's like Polish or something. I think she's Ukrainian. Ukrainian? No. Bosnian. Yeah, she's definitely Bosnian. Anyway, so she said, did why didn't anybody tell me we're in the finale of the world right now? You know what I mean? Like, when did we enter the finale of the world? Right? Oh gosh, I'm telling you right now, it's just maddening. I'm just like every second day something stranger comes out, and you're like, nah, that can't be right. And then I talk to the spirits and they're saying stuff and I have to listen to it 5 times because I can't believe what they just said. And I'm like, nah, I must have heard that wrong. And then I play it over again. Well, it sounds like that. Play it over again. Turn it up, turn it down, slow it down, speed it up. And it turns out, it is what it is. God, what are we dealing with here? I think this whole planet is run by various aliens. I'm gonna say it. Oh, I can't believe I'm saying it. I think they're fighting amongst themselves as to who's going to be the ultimate leaders and benefactors of our labor and our energy. And we're just like the little ants that are running around in the ant farm for them. And they're just watching us and observing us and picking us up every once in a while and probing us and tagging us and putting us back in the wilds. And our other our supreme politicians and leaders are just saying, as long as it's not me. And they're participating. I think there's like, yeah, I think there's an ancient tribe that used to do sacrificial stuff and Bohemian Grove and rituals and stuff like that, and they're still around, but they hide in plain sight, and they've been around doing this for millennia, and because of the internet, because of how quickly we can communicate with each other, they can't hide anymore. And now that we see them, we're dragging them into the light. You know, we ha- we still we have the knowledge, but we have to figure out how to stop them. We have to figure out how to stop them because we have the knowledge, but we don't have the power to stop them. Oh, I swear, I used to say, if when people ask like what would be your number one superpower if you could have a superpower, and I always said teleportation, because why not? If you had a superpower, it's great because if you could teleport, nobody could hurt you. Because if someone goes to hurt you, you're gone. But also, you could travel wherever you wanted to go. You wouldn't need to have to worry about visas and passports. You could just be in Paris for a croissant in the morning, in Italy for, um, some pasta at night, and you could go and hang out in Monaco for the beach during the day. Like, who wouldn't want that? But now I want to have teleportation and, you know, be able to teleport someone with me. And then also to be able to go back into the past. So it could save all the people that these horrible people do these things to, and then help them get to somewhere else in the world where they could be free. Because, I mean, what did Yang Yang say? They're billing me to death, sort of thing, right? And I didn't figure out what that was until the end, until I finished um, explaining the session. I was like, yeah, that's what that means. They did the same thing to Yu Meng Long. They gave him only 10% of what he was earning in the end, and then they made him pay for marketing and travel expenses out of that 10%. So really, it was like they were doing the same thing to Yang Yang. He was saying they're billing me to no end because so he wouldn't have anything. And just like they used to do when the miners worked in mines, they had them work and they earned their, menial living, but then they put them in remote locations, had control of the towns that they were in, and only gave them the opportunity to shop in the company store. So they would shop in the company store at these exorbitant prices, and all their money would go back to the company through purchasing whatever they needed from the company store. And they would even find themselves in debt because the company store would, jack up prices and then give them credit on what they needed to keep their family going. So hence the saying, own my soul to the company store, right? And there's a song where it sings about 16 tons and what do you get? Another day older and deeper in debt. I owe my soul to the company store. That's the song that sticks in my head sometimes when I'm doing something menial that I know my value and what I'm doing is not going to come to me in the end. And it's not, because you look at it as well and how much taxes we pay around the world and how it doesn't come to us in the end. It's all sent out to foreign countries and aid for this and aid for that, when it's really just lining the pocket of another politician somewhere else in the world. You know, you say China has corruption. Corruption's everywhere. Politicians get into office, and even if they had good intentions when they get in, that doesn't stay that way. And they sign these contracts with these ne'er do wells, these nefarious creatures, and they get drawn into the blackmail. Do what we say, and that's what happened with Charlie Kirk. And they approached him so young, and and then he didn't. He started refusing what they wanted him to do, and they just got rid of him. They just got rid of him. Yeah. Yeah, I was. I did a session with Charlie Kirk. He never posted, but there were two shooters. They just that other young man. Charlie said couldn't hit the side of a barn. They had a professional sniper, and I believe it was actually Israel that did that as well. Israel is, when you look at it, the chain of events with a lot of the things going on, and I think it was I think the practice of sacrificing babies actually goes back to Israel. I'm not anti Semite. I think anti Semite is another thing too that they throw out there. Um, you know, are you racist? Are you anti Semite? Are things like this, right? To get you to be quiet, but you're just saying that there was a practice of, sacrificing your children and other things like that in the past, and I think it just continued on. And there's some experts that say, when uh, these Jewish individuals were moved out of the country in England and then forced to go to Germany and then forced to go elsewhere, they were because of the practices of, and it's not modern day Jews. It's just like, it's a sect of the Jews, just like you would have uh, Islam, right? Islam is not wrong. It's the members of Islam that hijack it to do heinous things. Okay? To, you know what I mean? Like, it's the same thing with Christianity. Christianity isn't wrong. It's the people who hijack it, who took the Bible, that cut out this and that and the other thing to highlight their agenda, the patriarchal source society, and and it works for them. And then the Catholicism, like the Catholic Church, and what how they, the things they've done through the centuries. It's just corrupted. All these idealistic sort of ideals, were corrupted by corrupt people to benefit themselves and their families and their bloodlines and all this. So it's almost like we have to stop right now and just take a sabbatical for a few days, shut ourselves off from everything, and go back to our roots and say, I'm spiritual. I believe in God. I believe in the divine. I believe in source. I believe in, I believe that we're here for a reason. But all this nonsense is polluting our experience on this plane, you know, and just like feel what's in our hearts, because really, heart is just an anagram of earth, right? Everything's connected to the heart, to our heart chakra, you know. I don't know. Where's the seat of your consciousness? I don't know if it's in the head. I think we are connected, and our consciousness is actually, it's not in our brain. Consciousness is not in our brain. Do you know that there was a gentleman, I think, that ended up only having a portion of his brain? It was almost like a ridiculously low percentage of his brain, um, either being born with it or having had an accident. Cannot remember which one it was. And he still had his full consciousness. So how can that come from the brain? I think our consciousness is something like Wi-Fi. I think it's up and out, and we just pull it into ourselves. Like it's almost like beaming information into us. What do you guys think? What do you think? Where does consciousness come from? Is it Women's Day today? Oh, you're right. Yeah. Is it the 7th? Oh my gosh. It's 7 in the morning here. Where are you? 8th of March today. Happy Women's Day to you. Yes. Is it tomorrow? Is it starting after midnight? Oh my goodness. But I mean, I just feel it's kind of, how do I put it? I feel like I'm bipolar sometimes because I wake up one day and I'm feeling so overjoyed about being here on this beautiful, marble. And oh my gosh, how lucky am I to be living, in and there's no war going on outside my door. Like no gunfights going on. Um, nobody's breaking into my house on a weekly basis. But then I want to put it in perspective. I want to say, yeah, wow, I'm living I'm living in paradise, because frankly, being here in Canada, it's tough. Yes, grocery prices are ridiculous. Yes, the cost of living is ridiculous. Yes, I'm very concerned about where that's heading. But my life is not in imminent danger. I'm not being tortured. I'm not having to sleep in a cage in some sort of basement somewhere, even though I'm then trotted out to perform like a trained monkey. Like those poor artists in China. But then I know that's happening. So it's like I'm waking up and I'm feeling overjoyed that I live in Canada, I'm safe. And then I get introduced to the other reality in the world. Like it's almost like I'm happy one minute and terribly depressed the next. And I'm not used to being like a depressed person. I'm like very focused, um, and and sometimes I do suffer from seasonal depression, like because not a lot of sunlight in Canada in the winter, and so I do get a little down in the winter time. But I feel like right now it feels like it's been seasons depression. Like no one told me multiple seasons were going to be involved in feeling down. But I'm not going to stop. I won't stop because I can't now. I feel like if I stopped, that I've sort of opened this door and they'll keep coming. They'll let me know they're here some way or another. Because I'm starting to feel like I'm not alone. You're not alone. No, like I don't have the ability to sense them, and I don't feel frightened. It's just like the other day I felt like something was trying to prod me to turn on the spirit box. You know what I mean, and just listen and see what came through. Um, but oh, I'm I just feel like I'm terribly lucky, and then I also feel like I'm terribly scared at the same time for the future of all of us. If these things continue, like these creatures that are doing these things, nobody's safe. Nobody's safe. Doesn't matter. I mean, look at Xi Jinping. He's going down. He's going hard. And 171 people didn't show up to the NPC meeting that was mandatory. What happened to those people? Where did they go? Are they dead? Are they in prison? So they're enacting these horrendous things on the people of China and each other. It's almost like someone opened the cages of the zoo and the animals have all escaped. You think, guys? The zoos the zoo doors have been busted wide open, and the tigers and the lions and the bears and the gazelles are all out there, and we're all just trying to survive, right? And sometimes I don't even want to call the elite the elites because I know there are a bunch of inbred freaking monsters out there. Nothing elite about them. Nothing elite about them. They're just holdouts from a time where you had like the Rosicrucians and the pajama. What is it called? I love the word, but I can never say it. Starts with a P. No, can never say it. It's the old, before the Windsors in the UK. They were the line of the royals that ended up, someone traced, and they found out there was an actual heir that should have been the heir, but got overlooked because someone allowed a illegitimate child to take the role of king. So I think the guy ended up being shown to be in Australia, who really should have been the King of England. And he was living in this small little hut house. Like, it was just like a bungalow with like a chicken wire sort of fence in the middle of the outback of Australia. And I'm just thinking, wow, crazy, crazy. I mean, is it a matrix? Because sometimes I think, is it a simulation? Could it be a simulation? Sometimes it seems to change on a dime, from, oh, look at this, we're all living a happy-go-lucky life, and then all this Jeffrey Epstein stuff gets thrown into the mix, and it's like, where did that come from? Yeah. So, yep, my topic tonight was the games. They're everywhere. There's various things they come up with for new games. Can change at any moment. It's like whomever's coming up with these ideas is just diabolical. And they just get them to fight each other, get them in. I think they also do not only torture, like surviving torture, like not passing out when they're torturing you, or or seeing how long it takes them to make you pass out or make you scream. But I think they also test toxins on them as well, poisons. So that's another aspect of it. So I think they're just the Chen Ching Song and Song Yiren and Fan Chiki. I think they're all sort of captains that have artists underneath them, and they have to manage the artists, poke and prod them, and get them ready for whatever sick game they're going to be playing. And then I do believe that what's his name? Ji Ming? Ji Ming Aurora? Is that Ji Ming? I think he is the one in charge of the administration and organizing of it. So he's in charge of the entire games. And yeah, it's pretty sick. It's pretty sick, actually. So what we can do, like I said, the only thing we can do, and I do love it when people contact me and say, oh, what can we do? Like, I'm like, I want to say, how do I know? How do I know what we can do? I know I can ask the spirits, but they're not that specific. You know what I mean? Um, uh, like I said, they have their own agenda of what they're going to say. I can ask them; they can choose to answer or not. But like I've come up with some ideas on how we can help people. Some of them are pretty far fetched. But all we can do is just keep doing what we're doing. Get the information out there. Get people aware of what's going on. Get them and everyone else and ourselves to share it with others so more people find out. I don't know, maybe write a letter to a politician. I don't know if that's going to help or not. Because, I mean, once you get into politics, you're in that same sphere as you are in the entertainment industry. And it's owned by these individuals who do this to us. and others, who torture people, who traffic women, who um, reap the organs of young people. You know, it's I wish divine. Well, you know what? The spirits, once they get on the other side, cannot interfere with what's happening on this plane. They will not tell me. They will not interfere. They will tell me they can't interfere. And they'll keep their mouth shut if they don't think it's something that should be said at this time. But I would love them all to just come down here and just wipe out these people that are doing these things. Just wipe them off the face of the planet and let us all the rest of us live in peace. Do you know why they haven't arrested anyone yet for the Epstein thing? Because there's so many people involved that run our world that if we put them all in jail, the whole friggin' thing would fall apart. Everything would cease. It's like the cog of the wheel would jam. And, nothing would get shipped to here, and nothing would get shipped to there, and they wouldn't do. I mean, that would probably be a good thing. Then we could rebuild, and we could set it up in a way that's not so corrupt. But, and not only that, they're so rich that they can buy their way out of anything. Like Ghislaine Maxwell's not in jail. Like P. Diddy's not in jail. They got away with murder, literally. Because don't tell me P. Diddy didn't kill Tupac and Biggie, because he most certainly did. Right? Yeah, and look at Prince Andrew. Look what he did. And like the Virginia one that killed herself, supposedly, right? That he harmed. What did they take him to the police station for? Oh, what was it? It wasn't for sexual assault or anything like that. I can't remember what they called it. They called it, took him in for questioning in regards to misconduct. That's what they called it, misconduct. Talk about downplaying something. We're taking you in for questioning over misconduct. They can't even say to the public, yeah, we're taking him in because we think he's a child rapist. All right. He should be in sex offender list. No, no, misconduct. Yeah. Yeah, it's all a show. You're right. And you know what's Earth is being sold to the highest bidder. Pretty much is what's happening right now. There's an auction going on, and they're all jostling at the top to see who's going to be the highest bidder. And so I wake up very, very optimistic, and then sometimes by the end of the day, I'm very pessimistic because I see stuff on YouTube, and I'm like, I mean, it really hurt me that Jim Carrey's gone missing and he's dead because he was a good Canadian boy. And all he wanted to do was bring joy to people's lives and make them laugh. And these horrible people, you know, dragged him in and sucked the life out of him. And then when he was no longer useful, they got rid of him. They got rid of him. And that's what they're doing with the artists in China. They draw them in because I think they have no talent themselves, no ability to create, none of these things. And they take these individuals that are vibrating at probably the highest frequency because of their creativity, and they just suck the life out of them. And then when they're done with them, they discard them. They're like juice boxes, for goodness sake. I mean, maybe there are vampires. Maybe this is vampirism. The way they take life and just suck it dry. Like Maybe that's what vampires really were supposed to be. Never mind this Count Dracula baloney, you know? So, what I would do, and what I think I'd like to do, is just go and build a hut on a beach on a deserted island and just be the little old lady that makes little bracelets to sell to the tourists and just pretend like none of this is happening, because I really can't see how I can change anything with this. I know I can start keep talking about it and I can make sure everybody knows about it, but how can I stop it? That's what people keep asking me. Deb, how do we stop this? And I'm like, how should I know? How can I know? Right? But, I mean, maybe if we just all turn away, maybe if we stop voting, maybe we stop working for them, maybe we all just stand down and say, we're not going to give you another red cent. Money is made up anyway. We only affixed a value to it. Do you know we used to live in a society that um, was the barter system, and you used your craft as your earning ability? You're a bard, or you a carpenter, or you made furniture, or you made boats, or you. Do you know what I mean? And you were taught a skill by your parents, and that skill, you were so good at that. Maybe you made, pianos or something, you know, and you traded your skill for other things. Maybe we should go back to the barter system. We can't let digital currency come in, because if we do, that's going to destroy the whole underground economy, gig economy, all these things. It's going to eliminate all that. And then all of our money will be trickling up. They'll have control of all our money. And if we say anything they don't agree with, they'll just shut off our money. And 15-minute cities, they won't have to keep us there, because there will be, your wallet, your digital wallet doesn't work 15 minutes away from your home. So there you go. You're completely controlled then. There's no other option. If we let that happen, we are essentially slaves. We're Yu Meng Long that never had a freaking home. He was kept either at Chi-Hao, or did you see the basement apartment they had for him? That was one room with a cot in it, like a prisoner's cot, and no windows down those rickety stairs. That's where he lived when he was allowed to live outside of captivity at Chi-Hao. And when his mom would come to visit, they'd set him up an apartment, okay, with food in the fridge to make it look like they were taking good care of him. Oh, oh. If I could get my hands on any one of those 17, I swear I would put them through hell. I would make them go through everything they made other people go through. Jennifer, were you not here when I was at the beginning, when I was telling how I did a quick burst session with Chenkun? Jennifer, were you here for that? I did a 1 minute session before I came on because I knew that was going to be one of the questions. He's not doing well. Yeah, but it's not 100% because it was a quick birth session and I just sort of skimmed it. Okay. So the spirit said plastinated twice. I don't like it, has to play. He died. It's all over the board, tense wise. Worked too long, meaning he's was in the business too long. I did nothing good. Already owe teeth. Took. I'm told to be here. Um, he knows stuff. Should cheer up. I'm tired of this. I saw it all in that night. Um, Make me do it. They had the game. Someone had to die. Died by inhale. Not enough. It's a name, but I can't make it out. It says, was friend to me. They made him play me. Too fan or something, too fan played me. Just kill him. And then the spirit yells, wake up. So I think that's referring to he actually had to kill somebody and he was telling them to wake up. Um, he was nice, so I think he's talking about the person that died. We saw his death. So I think they might be talking about Yulin Long there, saying he was nice and we saw his death. I don't know why so many people saw his death. I don't know if they were made to watch the live stream as a message to them to toe the line. I'm getting that impression now because you know how many times I've talked to Spirit for like Gao Jun Chen and Chen Duling and Dilleraba and Hugh, and they've all said they were like they saw his death, and they weren't all there. So did they live stream it? Make sure they saw it as a message to them to behave. You know, um, the sun so conned everyone. So the prop or something like that. It says prop. Hurry, it says, I'm not their pal. So that's as far as I got with the 1 minute of quick session that I did. So you can tell he's in trouble. Can I 100% say he's dead? No. Even though they said he's dead and plastinated, because again, unless I go and really listen and to the majority of the tense, it could be spirit predicting it happening, or it could be have already happened. So, so, but no, he's not. He's not safe. He's not safe. And you know what I'd really like? I'd like to do a session on someone, and they say, "Oh, he was just walking with his puppy earlier today." And he just went out to on a date and he had lunch with his best friend. But why am I doing these sessions and not finding anyone who is doing great? What's happening in China? I'm getting the impression not one artist is safe unless they're Jackson Yi and Yang Mi and people like that and Fan Chiki, the evil ones that are in on all of this with the bad guys. And like every artist that I'm doing this on in China is being trafficked for sex, exploited, not making any money because the agencies are just raking in all the money, and they're complete prisoners. Like, look at Hugh. He was like, like he is a big A-lister, and look how they're treating him. I know he's got teeth missing now, and that's not good. Once your teeth are gone, they punched your ticket. They punched your ticket. Your value out in the industry is gone. They're just toying with you till you die. It's like a cat toying with a mouse. So, oh, okay. Here we go. Anime 9889. Deborah, have you watched the news about Dilleraba stranded in Dubai. Is she legit or a stand-in? Okay, so if Dilleraba was the real Dilleraba, and why would she be in Dubai when the rest of her team is in Paris? Why would they book her a so-called ticket that had a stopover in Dubai when all the other team, including her makeup artist, had a direct flight to Paris? This is why she's not. She's they're pretending she's in Dubai because if she goes to the Paris fashion show and Dior tries to fit her with her clothes, her exact measurements would have to be what the original um, Dillaraba's measurements were, which is impossible because no two bodies are exactly alike. They're going to know her exact length of her arms, length of her legs, uh, measurements of her hips, me- measure circumference of her head, and if all of those don't match perfectly, it's going to be a dead ringer that they don't have the original Dilleraba in front of them. And let me tell you, if anyone's going to figure that out, Dior's not going to ignore that. Dior is going to say, "What the heck's going on? We're paying a great deal of money to have her model our clothes, and you're sending us a stand-in." So what do they have to do? They have to make up a story for as a reason why she can't go. And how will that impact them? Not at all. It's just going to make her look unprofessional, right? So meanwhile, the real Dillaraba's in captivity, gestating a child for somebody else that they're going to use to blackmail another artist with, right? And it just continues on. And maybe in a couple of years, if she plays her cards right, she'll be like Yu Meng Long and allowed to come out of captivity and maybe have be a little bit resurrected in a career or not. Just like, you find these other artists that disappear. I mean, look at Kanye West. Didn't he disappear for a little bit and he came back and he was like, he was on the Kardashians going, "I'm not getting on medication. I'm not going to do medication." And then he comes back, totally different person and loves everybody and Jesus and everybody's dog. You know what I mean? And oh, yeah, yeah, I'm on my meds now. I'm feeling great. It's all there. You know what I would not do? I would not encourage anyone, whether it's in Europe or North America or Asia, to go into the entertainment industry. I would not, because I think it is infested, infested with demonic creatures, like multidimensional sort of low vibrational entities that have come here to feed on artists. They got the right stuff, for them to feed on. And it's like a smorgasbord for them. And they're just using the artists as well to make money. And they're just making money means so much to everybody that they just control everybody with money and blackmail. That's what they do. They take someone who gets in, has a little bit of talent, right? And say they're beautiful. And they, even if they just have a minor bit of talent, because I know Yu Meng Long, he had a wonderful voice, but it's not like he had the end all be all voice. And he never even wanted to act. They had to kind of teach him how to act. Okay? And they wouldn't even let him sing. But I mean, did he have a phenomenal voice? Not at first. His voice wasn't really strong. Okay? I'm just telling it as it is. Don't come at me. But the thing is, he had the right features. Just like when I did my session on Jungkook. Okay? The spirit said he had the full package. He had the visuals, he had the voice, he had the charisma, he had the personality. And that's why, like, they were sign him, and so excited about him. You know, Yumeng Long had what they wanted, his natal chart. And they were going to make him famous no matter what. And they pushed him towards it from middle school. They pushed him even towards artistry so that they could get him under a contract and control him till they harvested him. It's like the leeks. That's what they say in China, right? They call themselves, we're just leeks to be harvested. And that's what they're doing. And that's what they're doing with all of us across the world. We're all leeks to be harvested. I mean, if you look at education, education was just created to teach our young to not think for themselves, to be constantly tested on a belief system that's being fostered on them from, the Rothschilds that created education and the J.P. Morgans and so on in the industrial age to teach them to work for somebody else to not think for themselves. The free thinkers were always taught that there was something wrong with them and put in remedial classes and labeled troubled students because they refused to, capitulate or adhere to, and just regurgitate everything that was taught to them. And so, where are all the free thinkers now? They're gone. We, you know, we, the school system destroyed every free thought you ever have in your head. Even if you did math and you said, no, well, listen, I know you want to teach me math, and I don't even know what kind of math they're teaching kids these days. Because if you ever seen the roundabout way, they even have to do addition and multiplication. It's insane. It makes no sense whatsoever. Now, like, even if you went to the teacher and you said, hey, this is the answer, you'd have to show how you got it. And if you got it in a different way than they showed you, it wasn't right. But the answer's right. It's just you didn't regurgitate the information they wanted to pummel into your brain. So, yeah, we're all here just working paycheck to paycheck, and the money's trickling up to the 1%, and their nefarious plans are all working because we're all just towing the line, just following along, all getting along to get along. And it's time for us to say no. No, I'm not going to go to work. I'm not going to go to school. I'm not going to spend any money and give you more money. What do you think's going to happen when if everybody stopped ordering from Amazon? Guess what would happen? Small businesses would start blooming again because you'd have to buy from somewhere, right? And then when you buy from the guy that has a small business in your hometown, what is he doing with that money you gave him? He's distributing it through your hometown and your community, right? And then what does he do with that money? Well, okay, he pays employees. What do the employees do? They buy more things from other shops in that community. And the money distributes through the community, not going directly up to Bezos, who already has more money than God. Like I told you about the rice experiment, where the amount of money that Bezos and Elon Musk has is like if you piled a bunch of rice, it would be the size of a compact car, right? Whereas $1 million is like 10 grains of rice. So that's how much wealth they have. It'll never be spent. But who cares? It's all made up anyway. Do you think they really have that? If everybody just wiped out money in the first place, like Trump wants to do with digital currency, right? He wants to tank the dollar so he can get out of the $43 trillion of debt that America's in. If he tanks the dollar, Bezos quadrillions are going to be gone, right? It's going to be pared down to whatever the dollar value is. So he's going to save himself by having hard assets, gold, properties, blah, 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 blah. But the rest of us, what's going to happen to us? Well, our savings are going to be gone. It's only going to be a fraction of what we saved at the value. Our pensions are going to be gone because they're all sort of invested through dollar, and we're all going to be screwed. So here's the time, guys. We might as well say, no, I'm not going to go to work, because in about 3 years or 4 years, it's not going to matter. With AI and them doing what they want to do now, it won't even matter if they put in universal income, right? Like, let's say AI gets really big and no one's working anymore because AI does everything. Maybe only 10% of the jobs are left. And that's hands-on work like plumbing and trade work, and just the people who are the last sort of glad hand sort of contract guys and meeting face to face and stuff. The lawyer that goes to court for you, but everybody else in the legal office, right down to the paralegal, the bailiffs, the bondsmen, all of that's now done with AI. And all of the accounting's down. No more accountants. You wouldn't need any programmers anymore. You don't need any authors or musicians or filmmakers, because they just found out with Brad Pitt and Tom Cruise having a great big fight with each other, made by AI and looking realistic in minutes, with something that would have had to take months to set up and millions of dollars to shoot. Where is anybody going to be working in 3 years? That's why you should read a book called Scary Smart by Mo Gadat. He's one of the grandfathers of AI. And he pulled himself out because he saw where it was going. He said, we got to put this in place and this in place and this safety in place. And they broke all the rules, and now the cat's out of the bag. And he's saying, by 2027 or 2028, we'll be all on a beach somewhere for one or two reasons. A, we're going to be there because we're hiding from the machines. Or, B, we're going to be there because of complete and utter obsolescence. We're not going to be needed anymore. Humans not required. And what do we do then? Universal basic income can only do so much. If they put us all on universal basic income, first of all, there's got to be money coming into the system and any social system. Like, for instance, in your retirement, your in the welfare state, where you have to have people working to put it towards it. With unemployment insurance, you have to have people working that puts money into it. With here in Canada, with healthcare, you have to have putting money into, taxes to pay for that. But if only 10% of the whole planet is working, there's not enough people putting money in for the 90% hoping to get universal basic income out. And even if you're given it for the first little while, it's only going to be a basic income. That there's going to be landlords out there that want more. And then food prices, they're going skyrocket like they're doing now. I went to get groceries today, got a tiny bag, $100. I'm like, this is nothing. This is nothing. It's not even going to make food for a week. It's crazy. Yeah. So things are looking a little bleak, but we don't have to look at it that way entirely. We can just say, the hell with it. Let's all go and be beach bums. Let's all go and be beach bums. I wish I lived in... I feel so envious of people who live in places that are warm year-round. I would be that person that builds a hut on the beach and just, "Hun, what are you doing? I'm gonna make us a sandwich in a little bit. We're gonna have pulled pork sandwiches."
I was just gonna make some rice.
Oh, okay. You're gonna heat up some rice. Okay. Oh, I'm not gonna give up hope. It's kind of, like we're not at that desperate point yet, but we're getting there. It's like we're on the trolley, right? And we're on the trolley and it's moving towards that. And we have to decide if we're going to jump off, we're going to stop the trolley, we're going to try to hit another track. We're on the trolley, it's working towards that. So, yeah, right. Property taxes go up, so does the rent, so does interest rates, so does this, so does that. And it keeps going up and up and up. Like, for example, I love that Australia. Anyone here from Australia? There, supposedly, I heard that in grocery stores, the grocery store has to let the shopper know how much of a um, profit they're making on each sale of things. I think they should have that in Canada because everybody's saying the tariffs and the price of oil and gas and transportation and stuff like that is leading to the inflated prices in the grocery store. But no, when you look at the margins of what they're earning, like grocery stores are making huge profits. And if that was the case, they wouldn't be making record profits year after year, year after year. And so they're just throwing stuff out. I kind of picture them in a boardroom going, "Hey guys, I really think," and just like hold your horses, don't laugh yet. "I really think they'll pay this amount of money for a box of cereal. I really do. And you know what? If I'm wrong, I'll pay for steaks tonight." You know what I mean? And they're all just yucking it up. And they're like, and guess what? We're not only going to raise the price by $3, we're going to make that box smaller and give them less. And, we're going to make it look like it's the same, but when you turn it to the side, it's almost paper thin. Right? So, yeah, shrinkflation on top of um, on top of the inflation that we're going through right now, you know? So it's not. If I'm going to be poor, I'd rather be poor on a beach, right, guys? Nice warm weather on the beach. I'll make sandcastles. I'll live on sunlight. I'll definitely lose weight. I could use. Oh my gosh, this winter I've not been very busy physically. I've got to lose some weight. I definitely do. So is anything you guys want to ask me? I've just been kind of like, I kind of find it hard to follow what everybody's saying in the discussion because it just kind of flies by a little bit quickly, and I don't want to spend the whole time reading. I'm loving that you guys are talking amongst yourselves here, as I can see. Anybody have any ideas of how we can make this stop? Because people keep asking me, how do we get this all to stop? Anybody have any idea? I haven't come up with it. I'm just wondering if anyone has. Maybe we could just call their mothers and get their mother to give them a good spanking. Call their alien mothers in. Your alien spawn is misbehaving. Come and teach them a lesson. So guys, I'm feeling like I was very positive last time we talked about the portal, 3-3 portal. I was really up then. Now I'm feeling a little bit lower. That's because I'm, today with Michael Jackson and Chenkun, saying some crazy stuff. I'm like, oh gosh. What am I going to just find the spirit that's just had a nice Sunday picnic and they're loving life and they're having fun? I won't even go anywhere near Yang Mi and Jackson Yi with a 10-foot pole. I will not reach out to their spirits on the other side. I have a feeling, I have a very bad feeling about that. And I won't do Xi Jinping either. Not because I'm afraid that he'll come after me, but because there's something, every time I look at that face, it just reminds me of a pig. And I think pigs are cuter than that, but yeah. Yeah, I think he's reptilian, maybe? Yep. Everybody in the royal family. It smells good. I haven't eaten yet. Why is the live lagging? I don't think it's lagging. I haven't seen anything on my end. It might be just you. Um. So yeah, this is what I wanted to talk about tonight. I wanted to talk about the games and how we could stop them from happening. And I mean, I've racked my brain over and over again trying to figure out how we can help the artists in China. But then I see the artists and then I find out of like Jim Carrey, like if Jim Carrey can be just taken out like that, then I don't know if there's any artist in the world that's safe. And I think we just have to stop working for the overlords, right? What if we all took the first of the month off and just didn't go to work, didn't go to school, didn't buy anything for the whole day, right? And once a month, the first of the month, we do that every month and we send a message that the masses are not interested in you playing your game anymore, right? And we start the global movement and we try and get more and more people involved every month. And then the numbers get higher and higher and their numbers get lower and lower. The money that they earn from us when we buy gas and we buy food and go to a restaurant or go to a fast food joint. Oh my gosh, did you guys see the commercial with the CEO of McDonald's when he called it product? Oh, now everybody is kind of sketched out now because if the CEO can't even legally call it food, he's got to call it product. And then he was saying like, oh, look at this sort of bun and this sort of cheese. Sort of bun, sort of cheese. What are you feeding people? And so everybody's like, yeah, we know. Yeah, now we know for sure that's not beef we're eating, you know? Because you can't even call it a burger or food. You got to call it a product. Yeah, and he just take the littlest bite, like the tiniest bite ever he took, and the look in his eyes, he looked scared. And do you know what I noticed? He didn't even chew and swallow it. He had it tucked in the side of his teeth while he was talking. He wouldn't even swallow that little tiniest piece. And this is what they're feeding to the masses. And everybody's been ragging on it. Wendy's, um, Burger King, A&W, right? They're all doing their own commercial, and then other people are sort of making fun of it. Um, around the world, like taking the tiniest bite of something. And then some people are liking it when Squidward took a bite of the Krabby Patty. It's just tiny teeth bite. But like, tell us without telling us, right? That's what they're doing. They're all admitting to what they're doing now because that's what I told you to right now is we're in the era of resonance and revolution, and the truth won't be able to stay buried no matter how hard they try. That's why a CEO came out and thought it would be a good idea to just tell us by telling us, without telling us. Like, they're whispering, right? They're saying the stuff out loud they should be whispering now. You know what I mean? And we're hearing it all and we're seeing it all. And what does that tell you when someone behaves like that? That's CEO that's making the most money that you can make other than the shareholders of McDonald's, right? What is it? What is he saying? What is he doing? He's admitting that it's not fit for human consumption. That's what he's saying to us. It's not fit for human consumption. And as soon as he took a bite, they X'd out of there. And I bet you any money he spit it right into the garbage. Right? Not because of his tastes or, you know, highfalutin tastes, and he's going to have caviar later on. He knows it's something that nobody should be consuming. Right? And they know that, and they're saying the quiet parts out loud now. And we're seeing it for all it's worth. World War III, that's what they want. They want to divide us. They want us to have all of us in fear because they see us, we're evolving. They see it. And they see that we're becoming enlightened. We're becoming spiritual. We're vibrating at a higher frequency again. Starve them, right? Because they can't feed on high frequency. They can only feed on low vibrational frequencies. That's why they make us afraid. That's why they make us sad. That's why they make us despondent and hopeless. Yeah. Resonance and revolution. Let's go for it, boys and girls. Let's go for it. I mean, we're at the point now, it can't hurt, right? We might as well start trying to start a movement. Like we had, like start a movement like what they did with burning bras in the 60s, right? Let's burn the bras. Let's tear down the 1% by not giving them any money. Let's refuse to do. I mean, if we're going to be poor anyway, like people are in a debt cycle that's gone crazy. Do you know that they did a study in Canada? 40% of people are going into debt just to buy food, buying food with credit. 60% are going to food banks now. It's crazy. Oh, and another 50% are skipping meals or not buying healthy food because they can't afford it. So, yeah, that's happening in Canada. Oh my gosh, Keanu Reeves. Did you know I was in a movie with Keanu Reeves? I used to do extra work in the Rocky Mountains. So I was in a movie with Anthony Hopkins and Russell Crowe, um, Cuba Gooding Jr., Keanu Reeves. I did Mystery Alaska with Burt Reynolds, Russell Crowe. Yeah, so I was in a few movies. That was so fun. I'd do it again, but there's no money in it really. No money in it. Yeah, but you guys at least don't have as high taxes in the States. Like someone posted a fast food, like fast food's not even affordable anymore. It's not. You go to McDonald's and you get a burger and fries, and the fries aren't even full, right? You get a burger and fries and a drink, and it's not even the big drinks they used to give. Now it's small, and it's $20. Dylan Wang he's safe. Here's the thing. And it's a good thing you brought him up because someone pointed out to me in my last session with Hugh Um, Yuka. He said, Dee Dee, I messed up. And now I hear that Dylan's Wang's nickname is Dee Dee. Is that correct? Like Didi, Dee Dee? And so if that's true, then he's talking to Dylan. If it's not, it means he's talking to Yu Meng Long and it's like little brother or someone else he considers a little brother. And if he's saying, Dee Dee, I messed up, then maybe Dylan Wang is involved in all this. Maybe he's being suppressed by them as well. I think there's not a single artist in China that's safe. I don't think so. I think artists, even like Fan Shiki, could be taken out. Like it says, he's going to be taken out by his own kind later on. He's going to be killed by his own kind later on. Fan Shiki, someone's going to stab him in the neck, and it's going to be like randomly because he let something go or says something that he just really wasn't thinking. So yeah, so Dee Dee, it could be Dylan Wang he's talking about. But then I also hear that Dee Dee is like younger brother as well. But so could it be like we just have to look and see how much interaction Hugh would have had with Dylan Wang? And if he did have a lot of interaction, it might be indicating it's him. Yeah, so I really do believe it's younger brother. I'm 90% sure it just means younger brother, but it could be a 10% reference to Dylan Wang. I mean, it just depends on how close they are, right? If Hugh has some sort of past relationship with Dylan Wang, it could very well be him. Um, but I mean, right now, if you look at it this way, you have like Yang Yang. I think Zhang Bin Bin might have something to do with it as well. I really do think I should check up on him. Um, you have Hugo. And once they have the games and these guys die, someone's got to replace them, right? So who's to say if Dylan Wang's safe this week, if he will be safe next week, right? So, and you know what? Dylan Wang also had did like a couple of movies with Song Yiren, right? So listen, I got to ask everybody. Remember how I said Song Yiren was going to die? Has anybody heard anything about Song Yiren at all in the last couple of months? Nothing, right? Not a peep, nothing. No, and the spirit box hasn't mentioned her at all either. So I really do think she's gone. Oh, Dylan Wang. Okay. Well, I'd say if you want to check up on him, just see when his last personal appearance was. Um, See if he's showing signs of neglect. For example, if you see him in a public setting and they're guarding him rather than protecting him, you can tell with your own eyes. Also, look to see if he looks just disheveled. Um, if he looks like he's been harassed by his management company. Look how well dressed he is. Look for larger shoes. Things like that. Because I do have a long list of people to check on that people are pretty certain and are showing signs of abuse, which I need to check on them first. So if you come to me and you say Dylan hasn't been seen for 3 months and nobody's saying anything about it, yes, of course he'll jump to the front of the queue. But we have to sort of look into them first. Because really, also true, I do reach out to the spirit of someone alive And I do get very personal information about them. And sometimes I feel like a voyeur, like a spying on someone's life, right? And I don't feel bad about it if they're in danger because I'm helping them, or at least I'm trying to help them. But, like when I reached out for Jackson Wang, um, I got a lot of personal information, like a lot. More than I felt comfortable with, actually. Um, like it was being pretty specific. I was like, oh, wait now. You don't want to tell me everything, right? But um, I will certainly check on him if you feel that he's in danger, if you've looked into him first, though. Yeah. So, now that I think about it, there is no news about those 7 people. What 7 people? Which 7 people? Du Chang, I'm telling you, I really, really don't like that guy. I mean, I hate him the most. I hate him the most. Really, really do. I did do him. I did do him. You'd have to listen to the session. He will pay for what he's done. I think he does end up dying. Live by the sword, die by the sword. I just can't remember how it was supposed to happen. I think he was going to be shot or something. Don't quote me on that. But yeah, like I said before, if him and I were in a dark alley somewhere, I'd be coming out and he wouldn't. Let me tell you. I do not like that guy. I think he, like Kim used to say, used to like torturing them. He liked it. He liked stretching his fingers. He liked what he did. He didn't do. He's a psychopath. No, Fan Cheeky did not kill him to take out the USB. In fact, guess what? Yuman Long has never once said to me in all the. He's been in almost every session I've done. The only session he wasn't in was Epstein's and Michael Jackson's. Um, he's been in every session, and you know what he's never said once? USB. In fact, I've asked him about it, and he's never even responded to the fact that there was a USB. He said he had information. He said that he hid information in song lyrics to communicate with other artists. He hid the information in song lyrics to communicate with the general public to try to get their attention. It didn't work. He changed song lyrics to sing to people about what was happening to him, and people didn't notice. He said the spirits said in the last session that they were looking for the list in song sheets or music sheets, which he could have hid them there. But then also Yumin Long said that there was part of his laptop or computer, he had information hidden there, and you needed a something key. It's a term for a key for the computer that allows you to see hidden files. And I wouldn't doubt that he did that because he was actually. Do you know what he did? Oh my God, this guy was brilliant. Okay, so he was actually putting together legal briefs for him and the other artists to take Tianyu to court. He did the briefs himself. He was studying law in order to take them to court. Like, this guy was brilliant. This guy was freaking smart. Like, everything he did, like the Morse code, like putting learning how to edit his own pictures and explaining to them he was doing it because he didn't want to have to pay for a photographer because that was coming out of his pocket in the marketing budget, and then hiding the images in his pupils so people could see later on, communicating in code with other artists and song lyrics, changing the lyrics to try to get people's attention. You know, he tapping out SOS on his phone when he was in airports trying to get someone's attention, holding a water bottle up when he was being held at gunpoint in Chihao so people could see the reflection of the gunmen in the image. You know, brilliant, brilliant man. He did everything under the sun to try to survive. And in the end, he knew he couldn't. But he never gave up hope. He never once gave up hope. And he went out and did his job every day. And like, can you imagine being treated like this, knowing you're going to die, and you still have to go perform like a trained monkey at a variety show and smile for the camera and joke around with people? I can't believe how strong he was. Like, I would have cracked under that pressure. And that's what kind of pressure they're causing these artists to have. And that's why they're getting any leverage they can against them. Blackmail, they'll drug them and put them in compromising positions and film them. And then they also impregnate others with their sperm and other things so that they can have a child that can lord over them and hold over their heads and say, look, you have a daughter. Let me introduce you to your daughter. Now I'm going to kill your daughter if you don't do what I say. And, you'd have to be a monster to say, just go ahead, kill that little baby. Right? It's crazy, but that's what they do. And it's why evil CCP, well, it's not just the CCP. I think it's the underground elite that have infiltrated the CCP. And the CCP have always been sort of corrupt. Just like the Ming Dynasty, you had the emperor, but then you had his eunuchs that took bribes in order to get, your daughter in as a concubine or you know what I mean? And then you had the officials in the smaller villages that would take the flood relief money and embezzle it for themselves and not build flood walls and stuff like that. All that was going on in China for centuries. But then you have the CCP come in and they put like complete control of the people and they just harvest them to the nth degree. You know what I mean? Suppressing them as well as stealing from them, as well as, just to get rich off of them, really. And then you have the evil elite that came in, that 1% that were doing these games to begin with. And then they introduced it to the CCP, and the CCP said, oh, great, another way. We don't have, you notice how they don't have dog and cockfights anymore? This has replaced it. They used to live on cockfights and dogfights in China, didn't they? Now they have celebrities fighting for their lives. More profitable. People get turned up to 11. You know what I mean? Like, oh, it's my favorite artist. I love her and I love her this song and that song. Oh, yeah, I'm going to bet on her. I'm going to bet on her to win. And she's going to survive that poison they make her take. And I'm going to make some money on it. And it's going to be oh so exciting. And guess what? I get to sleep with her before she does that too. Because I have lots of money. You know? You know, so that's, and so just like in the US, like you have Trump and everybody thinks Trump went to Venezuela and Iran to help the people. Oh, absolutely not. Absolutely not. He went to Venezuela to take control of the oil and to get a hold of the central bank there move the Rothschilds into that central bank so they could be part of the digital currency that'll come about. And the same with, because the 7 countries left that are holdouts from the Rothschilds having control of their central bank is Venezuela, Iran, Afghanistan. Look how many times they've been in Afghanistan, right? And for how long? Sudan. Oh my gosh, can't remember all of them. But you get my point, right? Cuba. Cuba is going to be the next one. Mark my words. Somebody write it down. Deborah said on March 7th that Cuba will be the next country that some sort of sanction or be invaded or just so many embargoes that the country's economy goes under. You watch. Cuba's next. Anyway, so it's been 2 hours. No, it's been 3 hours. No way. It's been 3 hours. It's 10 o'clock. I started at 7. Oh my lord. I'm going to let you guys go. I don't know. I don't even know how I managed to talk for 3 hours. That's crazy. That's crazy town. Okay, guys. I just want to thank you all for coming and listening to me yammer on. Yes, I'm going to keep checking on artists. Please, I got to find a system where people can just put their name down on a list so I can just check them off on the list as I go. Because it's getting to be a lot of artists now that people want me to check on, especially in China. And then also a lot of artists that have passed in suspicious ways or through suicide in the US and Europe and stuff like that, that people are saying, no, that really didn't happen. Australia. All right, guys, I'm going to let you go. Thank you so much for coming by. Why Jackson Wang? Jackson Wang, I did a session on him. Listen to it. It's up there now. Okay? All right, guys, I'm going to say goodnight to you all. Bye.